The year was 2013. I'd finally made it into middle school, and I needed something new to watch. I couldn't keep watching PBS Kids. I was a big boy now. I was tired of Word Girl and Wild Kratts. I needed something with story. I needed something with substance that I can hold on to. And while I was talking to my friend about this pressing issue of mine, he recommended me the show Attack on Titan. He was convinced that this show was going to flip my whole worldview, and he was right. I did like the sound of the show, and when I got home, I booted up the Wii and started up Netflix, and my life changed forever when I heard the chant. It's changed everything because this was the first time that I was watching something foreign, and I enjoyed it. I loved it. Before I knew it, I'd installed Smule Magic Piano to play Guren no Yumiya and Jiu no Tsubasa back to back. I ended up dressing as a member of the Scout Regiment one year for Halloween. I absolutely adored Attack on Titan. And even though I didn't understand a single word of anything that they said, it was still amazing. But by the time season 2 dropped, I'd lost interest. 4 years had already passed. I had watched so many other animes that piqued my interest a lot more. But even though I only recently caught up with the anime, I've always loved these opening themes. They all came with these stunning visuals, and as I was finally able to understand the lyrics, I figured they had some meaning to the series. So I looked online to see if there was any lyric discussion, and to my surprise, there wasn't any. A lot of people talk about the visuals, but I haven't seen anything about the lyrics other than a single amino post talking about a few lines. So, with the help of existing translations and Google translating myself, I have paraphrased these lyrics into English so that we can examine the world of Attack on Titan through the lens of its opening songs. This is quality lyrical analysis. Spoilers ahead. So let's begin with the beginning. Guren no Yumiya, which translates to the Crimson Bow and Arrow. The full version from Spotify starts off with this monologue, but if you're not listening to Spotify, you just hear this vocalization. But the monologue itself does translate to the "On this day, humanity was reminded," the opening thing for Attack on Titan. But if you were watching this on TV, you didn't hear this at all. If you were watching this on TV, you got hit with this. Which, if you've been part of the Attack on Titan community long enough, you know is German for, "Are you the food? No, we are the hunters." And this is a call and response from commander to soldiers. I like to think of this song as propaganda. Imagine you're in a crowd listening to a soldier trying to get recruits, and these are the words that they're saying. Are you there yet? Okay, let's move on to the lyrics. Not knowing the name of the trampled flower, the fallen bird yearns for the wind to come. And already we get hit with this big wall of metaphors and symbolism that we'll hear a few times in the next songs. The trampled flowers are corpses of soldiers that they don't know the names of, the many people that have fallen to the battle against the Titans. And birds are another way that we represent the soldiers. Their symbol is the wings of freedom, after all. And a bird who has fallen and cannot fly is helpless, just like a frightened soldier facing a foe that's so much bigger than they are, hoping for something or someone to come and help them. So let's go back to the crowd. Let's say that you're listening to these words. If you hear this, you're probably going to start walking away at this point. Sounds pretty hopeless to join the fight, knowing you'll just be sitting there, hopeless, hoping you don't become another corpse to litter the outer walls or just rot inside of a Titan's stomach. So the song continues by saying that this is how it has to be. No matter how much you pray, nothing will change. What changes in this moment is the determination to fight. Pigs that sneer at the resolve to climb over corpses to advance leave lives like livestock, live in false prosperity, and are as free as a starved wolf. They're basically saying that complacency isn't going to get you anywhere. Living life inside of the walls is not the optimal way to live. And those who think that what the scouts are doing is worthless think just like that. They're called pigs by the scouts, and they'll never be free. Now that you've established that living inside the walls gets you called a pig, and fighting outside the walls gets you killed, well, now you've alienated the entire audience of future soldiers into thinking everything is hopeless and there's no point in living. Congratulations. But then the next verse catches your attention. The humiliation of captivity is the beginning of the counterattack. Beyond the walls, the prey is slain by his body burned by an overflowing urge to kill. He will pierce the twilight with scarlet, with the crimson bow and arrow. And now they've got your attention. While you were busy feeling humiliated by what they're telling you, they said, we're way ahead of you, and this is why we're already fighting back with our secret weapon. The Titans are now our prey, and they're being slain by the Hunters, or Jaeger. The crimson bow and arrow and the word Jaeger have a double meaning here. Jaeger is the last name of our main character, Eren Jaeger, but also it's supposed to represent the scouts. And the crimson bow and arrow is supposed to represent the bloodlust that Eren feels, but I also think that it's Eren himself being the secret weapon of the scouts. And I think this is a perfect representation of the first half of Season 1. In Episode 1, we see a lot of people die, and a lot of people realize that they have to fight to win their freedom that was stolen by the Titans. And once Eren dies and then comes back as a Titan to help fight in Trost, he becomes their secret weapon. And this is where the TV version ends, but the full version goes on for a little bit longer, giving us a hype theme, a battle cry, a monologue, more propaganda, and then a repeat of this last verse to bring it all full circle. So let's get right into that. We're given a short keyboard solo until we move into battle. Draw the bow and chase it. Don't let the enemy escape. Fire the arrow and corner them. Don't let the enemy escape. The bowstring pulled until it almost snaps. Endless volleys continue until they all drop dead. It is not the weapon or skill that kills the prey, but the definite will to kill itself. And this verse, just like the next one, uses repetition to get a point across. In this case, don't let the enemy escape until they drop dead. We then get pulled into our battle cry. We are the hunters, hot as flames. We are the hunters, cold as ice. We are the hunters, draw your arrows. We are the hunters, pierce the enemy before you. This battle cry, Wir sind die Jäger, or We are the hunters, is a callback to the starting chant of the song. This part of the song makes me feel like we've gone from being a citizen listening to this propaganda to now being on the front lines fighting. We are then given an awesome solo that feels like the battle that we're in, and then it slows into a monologue. The same way that these soldiers slow down and watch Eren as he appears as a Titan for the first time is the same way that we're slowed into this monologue that is about him himself. It reads, "Attack on the Titans. The boy of yore will soon pick up his sword. Anyone who complains about his impotence cannot change anything. The boy of yore will soon take up the black sword. Hatred and anger are a double-edged blade. Soon, one day, he will show his teeth to fate." And this monologue is about Eren himself, a boy who will fight back because he's fueled by hate and anger towards the Titans. That same hate and anger that turned him into a soldier of humanity is the same one that causes him to make hot-headed decisions that no one does anything about because he's kind of the last hope of humanity. And soon enough, he's going to fight his own fate. We are then given more propaganda saying, Those that can accomplish these goals are those who can discard for their goal. To think that a dream can come true without taking a single risk. Foolish indecisiveness, nothing more than some illusion. We can use reckless courage right now. The pawns of liberty bet on their assault. Victory to the slave that charges in. The pawns of liberty can also be translated to freedom soldiers, which is another way to talk about the scouts. This verse shows how people need to be sacrificed for the sake of humanity, and they'll take anything that they can get too. The scouts gamble everything on their fatal head-on charges, and those who go in will emerge victorious. Well, not really the soldier, but humanity will, at some point, if a lot of them die. Like, a lot of them. And now this last verse of the song is a callback to the last verse of the TV version. The absurdity in life is the beginning of the onslaught. The stolen lands, the world itself as Eren desires. An unstoppable rage penetrates him. To the dusk he will bring the violet skies, the bow and arrow of hell. And then the words end, and we are brought to a dramatic finish. And this first song perfectly encapsulating the ideas of Attack on Titan. Soldiers will lay down their lives for humanity because living a life inside the walls isn't really like living at all. Eren is the weapon humanity will use by taking advantage of his hate and anger towards the Titans, and he'll wreak havoc on his enemies. And it's a great way to introduce the series. So let's recap a little bit. At the beginning of this song, we have this feeling of loneliness, trampled flowers, the fallen bird yearns for the wind. This evokes this feeling of mortality, something that's very evident throughout the series, and especially this opening. We see a lot of bodies just being thrown at the Titans. No names, no faces, just bodies flying throughout. And I think that's a very important part of Season 1 that does start to change as the series continues. So, let's continue with the series. In the next video, this one went on a little longer than I expected. It would have been just over 20 minutes had I gone up to Jiu no Tsubasa. So if you guys want to see this become a series, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Comment ideas for future videos or start a conversation about what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video.